Good morning, everyone. Happy Friday. Thanks for joining today's virtual farm tour. You are going to meet the family behind Carterley Farms in Thorntown, Indiana, which if you aren't familiar with where Thorntown is, it is north of Indianapolis, a little north of Lebanon, Indiana, and Kelly McKinnon and her father, Charlie, will be joining us today to take us around their farm and introduce us to all the dairy cows. But first and foremost, my name is Brooke Williams. I'm the Director of Communications for the American Dairy Association, Indiana, and we represent all Indiana's dairy farm families. There are about 800 dairy farms in the state of Indiana, and as I mentioned, we are very fortunate to introduce you to one of those family farms today. If you are joining us and want to play along, we have a scavenger hunt that you can download if you haven't already from our website, winnersdrinkmilk.com, and it's where you registered for today's virtual farm tour. But please use the box below if you're on Zoom, the Q&A box, to answer or ask any questions, and we'll try and ask as many questions as we can to Kelly and her dad Charlie throughout the tour. And if you're on YouTube, feel free to enter comments there, and we'll be looking at those questions as well and try and get as many answers as we can get to today. But without any more of my talking, I want to introduce you to Kelly and her family's farm. And thank you again for joining us today. We see families in their classrooms in Hammond. Jordan Lawson students are viewing through their virtual classroom. So whether you're in a classroom or at home viewing this, thank you for joining us. And I'll let Kelly McKinnon take it away.
Welcome to Carterley Farm. We're so glad you're joining us today. Can't wait to show you around and let you know a little bit about our farm. We are a third generation dairy farm here in central Indiana. This is my father, Charlie Carter. He, along with my mother, Margaret Carter, and I run this place, and we're looking forward to introducing you to baby calves and showing you our milking parlor and all kinds of things today. Behind me, you're going to see a big semi truck, and it just so happens that today you get introduced by seeing a semi hauling away our milk. We send our milk to Prairie Farm, which is a cooperative in this area of the country, and we're delighted to be a part of that cooperative. So if you see him pull out here in a minute, he is just hauling it away to a local plant where it will be turned into something delicious, hopefully ice cream, which is my personal favorite. So as we start our tour today, I wanted to tell you just a little bit about where we began. Back in the 1960s, my grandfather came to this farm, and over here in an old red barn that you probably can't see on video today, he began milking cows. We've had Holsteins here, which are those iconic black and white cows most of you are familiar with from most of the time that we have been here as a family. Recently, we've added a couple other breeds, Jerseys, which are small brown cows, and some brown Swiss. You may also see some red and white Holsteins today. Reason we have Holsteins they are known for having the most pounds of milk per cow, but we've also added the other breeds, one, because they're cute, which is always a good reason to do it, and also they have higher components, which is milk fat and milk protein, and we'll talk about that more later. Here in a couple minutes, you're going to be looking at a video we took the other day of our milking parlor, which will show you exactly how we go about milking the cows here on the farm. We have fairly poor reception in that area, so we went ahead and were proactive and got you a video so you could really be a part of what we do day to day here on the farm. You're also going to see another short video inside where our milk hauler right now is taking away the milk. So you'll be able to see a cow named Desiree, who's my daughter's favorite cow on the farm, be milked, and then also what happens afterwards. As we get ready to begin that, I'm looking forward to answering your questions, and I know my dad is too, so let's get started. Welcome to the milking parlor. Today we're going to meet Desiree here, who is a 6-year-old Holstein cow, one of my daughter's favorite pets, and she's going to let us walk through our milking procedure so you have the opportunity to see it exactly as it happens. What I have in my hands are two what we call dip cups, DIP, dip cup. On the left here, or your right, is our pre-dip. You'll notice it's an orange color. This is a hydrogen peroxide base. We use this to kill the germs that might have gotten on the cow's udder from the pasture or from walking through the barn. This on the my right, your left is post-dip. We use this after milking. It's an iodine base, and its job is to make sure that the cow's udder stays clean as she exits the milking parlor and back out to the barn and then the pasture. So first step when we're milking a cow is after she's entered and she's placed in her appropriate location here in the parlor, we are going to do what we call strip the cow. So that is simply checking each of her 4 teeth. This is her teeth. This is her other. These are 4 teeth. We're going to check to make sure that the milk is the right texture, the right color, and therefore is correct to be able to join all the rest of our milk in our milk tank. So I'm going to do that real quick. We're just going to squeeze down gently on the tooth canal and those teeth. We are looking for white milk and also a very liquid texture. As you can see that everything looks correct. So now I'm going to go ahead and get her with this screwdriver. It's really important that when I'm doing this, I bring all the way to the top of the teeth, as you can see here. And we're going to let that sit there for about 30 seconds. The reason I do that is there are germs on there. We want them dead. So we're going to go ahead and let that work and quit things. And usually when I'm in here with a whole set of cows, I'm just working on line cow to cow to cow during that time frame. By the time I get back to Miss Desiree, then we're ready to wipe her off. So for the purposes of today, we're going to pretend we've had 30 to 60 seconds, and we're going to go ahead and take a paper towel here. Each cow gets their own clean paper towel so we don't spread germs. And we're going to go ahead and wipe off all of that pre-dip along the sides of the teeth, as well as making sure, you see what we're wiping off there, making sure that we get the ends of the teeth very, very clean. Down at the bottom of each tooth is a sphincter muscle, and that is what opens up to let the milk exit. However, if I don't get the dirt off, that dirt can squeeze up in there and cause an infection in the udder. We certainly don't want that in Desiree. So now that I've wiped it off, and she's had a chance to naturally let her milk down, what that means is that the milk is going to come out of her milk wells and down into her udder so it can exit her body, and that is done through a natural hormone called oxytocin. So you might have someone around you take a look at how to spell that and what that is, but a cow makes it naturally, and that is going to help her put the milk into our milking machine. So this is what we call milking raw. You'll notice there are 4 pieces here. Those pieces are going to attach to each of the 4 teeth. The milk's going to go into this portion right here. You'll be able to see it there. It's going to exit through this hose and down through this clear hose into the insides of our stainless steel rest of our milking system. You might notice a little bits of dirt here and there because, hey, we are working with animals, but it's okay because it's just on the outside. We are very, very careful to make sure that the insides are all very clean. It's clean and sterilized between every single milking. No human hands ever go inside any of this equipment, and none of it ever touches, none of the milk ever touches anything of a human or any of this dirt. So clean, healthy milk is our goal, and we're going to go ahead and put the milker on Miss Desiree. The process of milking, it's calming to them, and that natural release of that oxytocin hormone actually kind of chills them out. They'll almost go to sleep in the milking parlor. Sometimes you have to wake them up and say, okay, you're all done. It's time to go back to the barn and have some breakfast. After she's completed here in a few minutes, we'll go ahead and dip her with this toaster, and then she'll walk on out her return alley and go on out, finish up her breakfast, and head back out to the pasture and enjoy the sunshine. So you've just seen a video over here on my left of our milking parlor. Welcome to our milking parlor. Today we're going to meet Desiree.
Okay. So over here on the left, you've just seen a video of our milking parlor, and we're going to take you through this door on our right in our next short video so that you can see our bulk tank and where that milk is stored. Any questions?
Ask them in the box below.
We are standing in the milk house here at the farm, and we have just finished milking out Desiree in our milking parlor next door here. What I'm going to show you in here is what happens to the milk after it exits our milking parlor. If you'll look up with me on the wall here, there are several steel pipes. If you'll count over to the 3rd one on the right, that is the milk pipe that comes out of our parlor and into our plate cooler, which is this item right here. That's the first stop for the milk after it leaves the milking parlor. What it is a series of metal plates that are stacked side by side that allows us to utilize water to cool the milk. the milk and the water never meet. We're just utilizing its cooling effects. So on each side, water is going to run on one side, milk on the other. It's going to cool about 40 degrees off of the temperature of the milk. A cow's body temperature is higher than the human body, and so the milk is very, very warm when it comes out of the cow. And yet I need it to get down to a very cool temperature of between 37 and 39 degrees. The quicker I do that, the better and healthier the milk stays. One side benefit to this piece of machinery is we are able to use the water that we're utilizing there twice. Cows appreciate drinking warm water, and so we're able to take the warm water from here, pump it out to where our cows live, and they can use it as a drinking option. After it exits the plate cooler, it's going to go through these additional pipes and go right over into the very large round steel thing you're going to see here on video just in a minute. This is what we call our bulk tank. Bulk is B-U-L-K, so bulk tank. This is where the milk is held and stored at a very cool temperature until it is picked up every other day by our milk hauler. We send our milk to the Anderson plant here in Indiana, which is Prairie Farm plant, and that milk is then utilized for all kinds of delicious items, my favorite being ice cream. Perhaps you have a different one. And so that milk is held at that 37 to 39 degree temperature range until it is picked up. One important thing to note as we're in here today, we have just had the milk hauler come here and our tank has just completed its wash cycle. So at the moment, it's at a very hot temperature because we have cleaned and sanitized it. As we begin our afternoon milking here in a little while, we'll cool it right back down to where it needs to be. What you're seeing now is just the record keeping system we have and the wash cycle system for the temperature on the tank.
So after we've gone through all the cycles, you've just seen the milking parlor and then the bulk tank. And now in order to make that milk and make it the very best it can be, we have to take really good care of our cows. And the big part of that is our nutrition program. So I'm going to hand it over to my dad, Charlie, in order to talk to you about that.
Good morning and welcome to Carterly Farm. As Kelly told you, in order to have healthy milk products, we need healthy cows. In order to have healthy cows, we need a healthy nutrition going into those cows. They need not just healthy nutrition, they need exercise and they need rest, just like you and I do. But anyway, we're going to talk about our nutrition this morning just a little bit. And what we feed the cows to a large degree, at least especially this time of year, is something called corn silage. This is a product that's a complete corn plant, all chopped up and put in a plastic bag, a big tube of plastic, and it ferments there. Now, if you could smell this, it has kind of a vinegar. It smells a lot like vinegar. It really smells good, and the cows really love it. And if you look closely, you can see the kernels of corn here in the corn silage. This corn silage makes up, each cow gets about 52 pounds per day. That's on an as-fed basis. On a dry matter basis, it would be more like 20 to 25 pounds per head per day. But each cow gets that. And then beside it here, we have something called Triticale. Now, it's a grass product. It's a cross between wheat and rye. And we chop it when it's not quite mature. And it also smells a little bit like vinegar, but it has a little different odor than the corn silage. Each cow gets about 28 pounds of this per head per day, which would be about 15 pounds dry matter. Then we also have this product here, which is just a grain product. It's ground corn with a lot of other grain byproducts in it. And each cow gets 21 pounds of that per day. So you see a cow can eat a lot of feed in a day's time. And over here in this last bucket, we have a mineral product that has some probiotics mixed in it. And each cow gets just a few ounces of that per head per day. So these ingredients are all mixed together. We grow the corn silage here, we grow the triticale here, we buy the grain and we buy the minerals. But we like to feed our own products as much as we can, but we don't have enough acres to supply everything, so we buy our grain product. Now all these ingredients get mixed together into a big mixer like this one right behind me. It's much like a big blender is what it is. It mixes everything together so that each cow gets a bite of feed. It's the same bite she gets before and the next one after. It's always uniform that way. So it's important that a cow gets the same thing every day because she really loves routine. Now, these products are all formulated specifically to keep the cows healthy. We have a nutritionist that does he comes through and tests these products, see what kind of nutrition's in each of them, and then he blends it or puts it together in a blend that we can use so the cows are healthy and so they can produce healthy milk. Now, in the wintertime, these cows pretty much get this, plus some additional free choice hay. In the summertime, they go out on grass. And you'll see that, I think, in just a little bit, where the cows are out on grass. But we like to raise our own feed as much as possible so we know what the quality is. Okay, I hope you enjoy the rest of our tour. Okay, go ahead and show the pasture videos now. That'll work fine. Give you yours back. Okay, you see these cows out in the pasture. They go out to a new break of grass every day. In fact, twice a day, we give them new grass to walk on and to eat. It's really healthy for the cows to be out there getting exercise. It's healthy for them to be able to get out there and eat fresh grass. It's high in nutrition. The cows really enjoy being out. And it's just something that they like and we like. They'll be out there about 8 to 9 months out of the year. As long as there's fresh grass growing, we like to get the cows out on the grass. You will also notice, well, maybe you'll see it, I don't know, but we do bring leaves out from town and mix with leaves from Thorntown. We mix with manure that the cows make here. And that makes excellent compost. And then we take that compost and spread it back on the fields as a natural fertilizer. So we try to do a lot of things to improve the soil, to keep the cows healthy, and just to be environmentally responsible. Okay, would you switch over to the hoop barn now, please? Okay, now this hoop barn we just built in the last year. It is designed to provide a place in the wintertime for the cows where they'll be very comfortable. They'll be able to get in there, stretch out, lay down. There's also going to be feed in there where they can access feed at any time. They will be in that barn pretty much from December through March, being comfortable in there. And then come April, we'll be able to get them back out on grass. They will also take advantage of that barn through the heat of the summer. When it gets hot in the daytime, the cows like to find shade just like you and I do. So they will be coming back in there in the middle part of the day when it gets hot. So there is a feed system in there that, well, we'll use this mixer that I showed you earlier. We'll put the feed in there. And then there's something called a feed pusher that will run on a regular basis several times a day to keep the feed pushed up and fresh for the cows so that they always have access to feed. There's also plenty of water in there so that they have everything they really need through the course of the winter and the heat of the summer. Okay, over here in this barn, we have feeds where our grain comes in and gets fed. It's on my right. On your left is sawdust we use for bedding the barn where the cows will stay. So we store the sawdust so we can put it in as needed for fresh bedding. And here on the right is storage for our grain that I showed you earlier. Are there any questions for us this morning at this point?
We do have questions, Charlie. Obviously, I know the answer to this, but after Kelly's showing off how you guys milk the cows and then all the attention that goes into the nutrition for the cows, someone wants to know, is it a lot of work to take care of dairy cows?
Well, let me answer your question this way. I got up at 4 o'clock this morning, and I probably won't quit till about 8 o'clock this evening. I'd had to break for meals, but other than that, yes, there's a lot of work involved. Dairy
And
cows take a lot of work.
what is your favorite part?
I like the variety that we encounter every day here on the farm. It sounds like we do the same thing, and that's true to a large extent, but there's always something, a new challenge every day, and that's what keeps me going. I just love the variety that we encounter every day.
And how many cows do you guys have there at Carterly Farms?
We're milking 135 right now. There's about 100 head of young stock also, but there's about 135 head here that we're currently milking.
And another question that came in, someone wants to know if you can drink milk straight from a cow.
If we can drink, I'm sorry, if we can drink what?
The milk straight from a cow, or if you have to wait until it goes to a store.
Well, in the state of Indiana, it's required that milk be pasteurized before it goes to the store. So, yes, it needs to be pasteurized.
That's right. That's all the questions for now, but if people, if you have more questions, down at the bottom there, there's a Q&A box, and feel free to ask a question, and we'll have Kelly answer a few more here in a few minutes.
All right, we are walking out towards our calf care program, so I can introduce you to our babies and give you a little bit of information about where we start the calves here at the farm. So walk with me and I will show you some cuties.
Kelly, real quick, someone wants to know if a cow has ever run away out on the pasture.
Have they run away? Well, we do have some interesting personalities here, and sometimes you'll get one that learns how to walk over the fences. So yes, actually, and those girls are the ones that are notorious around here and tend to get put in the fences that are the strongest. That's a good question.
And someone's also asking, how much does a cow weigh?
Well, the cows here on our farm vary between our very largest cow is probably somewhere around, I would guess 1,800 pounds, but she's extremely large for our operation. Most of them are somewhere around 1,500 or 1,600 pounds. Depends on the breed though. The Jerseys are a little smaller than the Holsteins.
Mm-hmm. And then we have a couple questions coming in about calves, but I'll let you go ahead and introduce them, and we'll see if they still have questions. All
right, well, come on over this way. You are going to see lines of little white buildings we call calf hutches. A hutch is H-U-T-C-H, and these are individual houses for all of our baby calves. So when a calf is born here on the farm, in general, they are born over here in a pasture area off to the side. And once they are born, they're immediately go into, I'm going to call it our calf protocols. So there are certain things we do with a new baby calf as soon as she's born because we want to set her up for a long, successful life. So first things first, she gets colostrum, and colostrum is the very first milk that a mama cow has. Her first 2 milkings, we're going to save back especially for that baby calf. It's very high in nutrition, and it also has something very special about it. It has immune builders. So a baby calf is born, their body is completely open to everything around them. They have no immune system. So if we don't get her mama's milk, she's not going to have the ability to fight off anything she encounters in her environment. So first things first, she's got to have a gallon of colostrum as quickly as we can get it to her. We also give them a probiotic pill, which is designed to help their guts start working right and help protect her as well. We're going to dip her navel, or where she was attached to her mama inside. We're going to dip that with some iodine to make sure that it germs are washed away from it, and it's going to dry up quickly. And then finally, she's going to get a tag. So let me show you what that would look like. So here in my hands, I've got a tagger and then also some buttons. In fact, there's a little bit of iodine right there from the last baby I tagged. So each one gets this 840 number. Do you see this very long number here on the tag? This is an RFID tag, and each of our heifer calves or female calves get one of these as soon as they're born. This is going to stay inside their ear for their entire life and is going to follow them where they go. That way we can keep accurate records, and also allows us to know exactly who we have at any given time. So that's a super important part. Later on, after we have given her a name, which we do around here, she'll also get a printed tag in her other ear. These girls right here all just have buttons right now because they are still very young. So as we go down the line here and take a look at some of these girls, what you're going to see are primarily Holsteins here in the first 3 pens, but then there's a couple jerseys on down. Each of these do have names, and the Holsteins are all registered. So those papers and the tags together, we know exactly who we have on the farm. Interesting fact about calves, especially the Holsteins, they are actually born with a very identifying set of marks. So no calf is exactly marked the same as any other. So in the old days, registrations were done actually by drawings of the markings on the calves. These days, it's done by the 840 number, but I think it's kind of interesting that they are so individual. Now, a lot of times we get questions about what a calf hutch is and why do we choose to house the calves this way? Let me answer those for you. As you're looking inside the calf hutches here, and this actually is Heidi that you're looking at right now. Heidi, you'll notice, is standing on a bedded set of sawdust in there. It's nice and deep so that she can nestle in at night. Also, this hutch is faced open to the south. The reason that is important is around here in central Indiana, primarily the nasty winds of fall and winter come from the north or the west. And so we want to open towards the area where she can still get ventilation, which is very important to a baby calf, but she's not going to get those cold winds. We want her sheltered from the wind and plenty of bedding in there to take care of herself. Along with that, we make sure that she's fed twice a day. She gets about 3 quarts of milk twice a day. You can notice that she is in very good condition and she's very happy in there. Some calves like to huddle back in there. They're very private. Others will be right out here looking to be petted. So they have personalities. And then the final thing that's really important to note about hutches is that it allows us to individually care for the babies. Cows do like to be in herds or in groups, but when they're very small, the ability to be able to individualize their care and make sure they're getting the nutrition they need is very important because we want to set them up for a successful life. Also, another question we often get is, how old is a baby calf before she's considered a cow? And the answer to that is, in general, around 24 months or 2 years old. So she is going to spend the first 2 years of her life here on the farm growing. The first 6 weeks, she's in a hutch while we feed her milk and she learns to eat grain. After she is weaned, which just means that she no longer is drinking milk, but is instead eating hay and a grown-up diet, if you will, then she's going to be grouped into a set of animals that are similar in size and age, and she'll spend the rest of her 2 years as a heifer in that group. In fact, you may be able to see in the background here our latest group. These girls are newly weaned, and they are together, and we feed them the grain, the water, and the hay right there in that group. So those are the primary things we do to make sure that we have successful calf growing operation. We really enjoy the baby calves, and I imagine that you probably, if you were able to stand here with me today, this would be your favorite spot on the farm. They're a lot of fun to watch, and we have a lot invested in making sure that they have a successful life, and we can't wait to see what they become as they grow up and have their first baby calf and become a cow in our milking parlor where they can make more of that delicious milk for you. What other questions can I answer for you guys?
We've got some very fun questions. One of them, you kind of touched on it, but do cows sleep?
Do they sleep? Yes, they actually do. In fact, I've got some really good sleepers. Some of them you have to go out in the pasture in the morning and wake up because their heads are curled around them. They're laying down and they're curled up and they're so comfortable that you have to say, wake up. It's time to go in for milking. So yes, they do sleep a significant amount of time, and it's actually very healthy for a cow to go lay down. She's going to have a much healthier life if you give her plenty of lying down time in her day.
And what do the cows do when it rains out?
What do they do when it rains?
Yes.
Okay, good question. A cow actually has a very interesting thing inside. She has a heater inside because of the way her body is made. When she eats, it creates heat. So as long as you can give a cow a break from the wind, something she can get behind so the wind does not blow on her, and she is well fed, rain is not going to bother her at all. In fact, we have cows that really enjoy the rain. It's almost like a little shower for the cows. So they like rain, but like I said, you've got to make sure they're well fed and they have a windbreak. Those are the 2 key things that they must have to be healthy. If you haven't noticed, you might take just a sec and notice how very, very quiet it is out here. I'm going to stop talking for a sec so you can hear that. Anybody hear any mooing? All I can hear is some little birds in the tree behind me. And that actually is exactly what we want to hear here on the dairy farm. Quiet means comfortable, calm, happy cows. When I hear mooing, that usually means that I've got a cow or a calf somewhere who needs something. So a dairy farmer tends to jump up out of their chair and go check when you start hearing mooing. I like the quiet of the farm. That's one of the unexpected benefits of being able to be on the family farm. What other questions can I answer?
What do cows do for fun?
What do they do for fun?
Yep.
Well, that's a really fun question. Cows actually are very curious. So if you want to let them have some fun, put them somewhere new. You'll put them in a new pasture they haven't seen in a while, and you will actually see old cows running and jumping and kicking up their heels or their tail up in the air, just like they were a baby calf. So that's always a lot of fun. They like new things, and they also will tend to experience things by licking on them. So for example, if you see a little baby calf over here, she is actually licking her pen right now. So a lot of times for fun, if you're standing too close to them, they'll lick up the side of your face or they'll chew on the back of your coat. So those are the things they tend to do. They like new things. They like to look around and experience life.
Someone is asking when your newest calf was born, and can they walk the same day they're born?
Our newest calf was born 3 days ago. And yes, they actually can walk within just a few minutes of being born, as long as the birth was a completely normal birth and there was no stress on the calf, which is our ideal. We absolutely want that. The baby calf is going to pop up very shortly after birth. It's going to be walking and running after mom pretty quick. And that's exactly what we want to see.
A student is asking if you ever dress up your cows.
Oh, I should try that sometime. I have not, but my daughter would love that. She has some tiaras and some scarves. We should try that sometime. What would the student suggest that I dress one up as?
Oh, I don't know. That comment below if you have any suggestions. And then Mrs. Combs' class is wondering how much milk a cow gives in a day.
How much milk a cow gives in a day? That's a good question. On this farm, our average production of milk per cow, if you take all of our very high producers and the ones that are further out on their lactation, we probably settle in somewhere between 65 and 70 pounds of milk per day. You notice I said pounds. So you guys buy your milk in gallons. We sell our milk in pounds. So if you want to do a quick division in class after you get done here, you can figure out how many gallons of milk 70 pounds would be.
Someone suggested to dress up a cow as a princess. So there's that.
Ooh, a princess cow. Ooh.
And someone is asking, what does their tongue feel like if they lick your face?
Oh, that's a really good question. Their tongue actually is like the roughest sandpaper. If you've ever been in a home improvement store and you've touched sandpaper, that's actually what their tongue feels like. And they use that tongue to grab grass off and wrap it around the grass and pull it into their teeth to cut it off. So when they lick you, you can imagine it's just like getting a little facial or something, and it rubs it right off.
And Mrs. Schroeder's class wants to know how long the lifespan of a healthy cow can be.
A lifespan of a healthy cow, we hope, is quite long. Our oldest cow here on this farm is 11 years old. I think the oldest we've ever had was one that was like 12 and a half. In general, we probably average out somewhere around 7 years old. It depends on the cow. So a cow's just like a human in that they're all genetically slightly different. So we try to do everything we can to ensure a long, healthy life, but a lot of it falls on the cow. And we hope for the longest possible, because as you can see, we have a lot of invested both emotionally and in day-to-day operations here in all of our baby calves. One more thing I wanted to share with you guys. We do have the opportunity here, because we are fairly close to an urban center, to be able to offer something called dairy leasing. So our local 4-H program lets us bring out kids from town that don't have space in their yard for a calf. And so we're able to have kids come out and show all these baby calves here at our fair here in the summer. So that has been so much fun. As a community, we are able then to interact with all the people that would otherwise not have that face-to-face experience with the baby calves. And most of the babies you've met here this morning will be on a halter next summer for a 4-H'er somewhere and learn to lead. And those kids get to have that time with a 4-H calf that otherwise wouldn't be an opportunity. So that's one of the things we get to do that's unusual, but we really enjoy around here.
Yeah, that's
Are there
great.
any questions?
Someone had asked about showing cows, if you show any of your cows at the fair. So thank you for talking about that. Another question is, how many calves do you guys typically have during a year? And does a mom ever have twins?
Two good questions. We typically calve in what we call 2 seasons around here. Right now we're in our fall season and we're just about to wrap it up. So far we've had 35 heifer calves here, along with bull calves, which are the boy calves. So right now we've had, I think, around 70 calves born this fall, and then we'll have an additional 40 or so born in the spring. So we have a fair number born each year. And I'm sorry, Brooke, what was the second part of that question?
Do you ever have twins on your farm?
Yes, we prefer not to be honest. Twins are pretty hard on a cow. A cow is really just designed to have a single calf at a time, but occasionally we will get twins and they're pretty cute. It's a lot of fun to get to name twins, as you can imagine. So we've had Tip and Top, and we've had some names that go together, Pitter and Patter, over the years. So occasionally we do get twins, but we really prefer the cow to have a simple, easy calving, and the way to do that is a single calf.
Great. We have a lot more questions, but I guess we asked your dad, what is your favorite part about dairy farming, Kelly?
What's my favorite part about dairy farming? I get to watch the sun come up. I get to watch the beautiful sunsets in the evening. I get to get out among the grass and walk and see the cows enjoying themselves. I get to watch my family be a part of it. I get to watch these 4-H'ers that Kelly talked to you about a moment ago. I get to watch them grow and develop and learn new skills. There's just a lot of things I enjoy about this occupation. I don't know if I'd trade it for anything. So how about any other questions?
I think that's good. As people, if they have more questions about dairy farming in general or want to know more about your farm, we're happy to provide any more information on winnersdrinkmilk.com. But thank you, Charlie and Kelly, for letting us come onto your farm today. We have quite a few classrooms joining us today, over 200 and some. So thank you for letting us come onto your farm and introduce us to your dairy cows.
It's been our pleasure to have you with us today. We've really enjoyed it.
Good. Thank you so much, everyone, for tuning in. And again, if you have any questions, please let us know, winnersdrinkmilk.com. But we will see you next time. We do these tours periodically. So make sure you stay tuned and join us again.